Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our reading through the Tanak night, the 27th of August, 2025. We'll be reading out of the book of Numbers, chapters 6 through 10. Okay. You can go to our YouTube channel, the Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at, examine them, get the meat out. These videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. We have our Cash App at the bottom of the screen for those that want to support the channel or help it move along. That too will be greatly appreciated. Okay, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Savior, our Redeemer, our Deliverer, the Lord of Hosts. Okay? This channel was created to aid and assist all Hebrews who are waking up in these last days to their true identity and understanding who their Savior truly is. Shalom and welcome to the channel. Welcome to our reading through the Tanakh night. Okay? We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, a prayer, Psalms. We have some current events. We have some need to know information. We'll open it up for anybody with any questions, comments, any dialogue or testimonies. Okay, then we'll go into our topic for discussion, which is be shining a light on the mysterious link between ancient Kemet, Freemasonry, and America. The Capitol building in America that America has. Okay, and then we'll be reading through the Tanakh, which we'll be reading out of the book of Numbers, is where we at. 5 chapters every Wednesday night, and we had chapters 6 through 10 in the book of Numbers. We're going to read those chapters, chapter by chapter, and we'll break it down as we go and get some feedback. Okay, and then before we close out, we'll pick a scripture as normal, and we'll break that scripture down. Then we'll close out. Okay, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto Thee. Therefore we come before Thee at this hour, seeking Thy face, looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before Thee as Thy servant David and Solomon and Samuel and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before Thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between good and bad. For we desire to walk after Thee, O Lord, and to keep Your commandments and Your testimony, Your statutes, with all our heart and our soul, to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by Your prophets. O Lord, allow Thy face to shine upon Thy people. Hear our plea, hear and do, O Lord, and hide not Thy face from us any longer, for we need You so very much at this hour. Peace be on You. Okay. So with that being said, I'll read the Psalms. Okay. Let me see. I'll read Psalm 37. Okay. Might help somebody. Okay. And it's Psalm 37. It's the true state of the wicked. It's the Psalm of David. David says, "Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord, do good, so that thou do well in the land. Verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and He shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. And He shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for Him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger, and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just, gnasheth upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is come. The wicked have drawn out the sword, and have bent their bow, and cast down the poor and needy, and slay such as be of an upright conversation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. A little that a righteous man have is better than the riches of many wicked. For the arm of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous. The Lord knoweth the day of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil times, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs, and they shall be consumed. In the smoke shall they consume away. The wicked borrow and pay it not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hands. I have been young, and now I am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful, and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil, and do good, and dwell forevermore. For the Lord loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land, and dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of his God is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteous, seeketh to slay him. The Lord will not leave him in his hands, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord, keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. I have seen the wicked in great power, spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. And yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off, but the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in a time of trouble. And the Lord shall help them and deliver them, and he shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him. So that was Psalms 37, the true state of the wicked. So notice what they say, the true state of the wicked. So he just told you what he's going to do to the wicked. So to sit around and phoning with the wicked is a misnomer. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to move on to our current events. What I'll do is I'll play the current event and then get some feedback like we normally do. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Yeah.
The shameless and the most shameless MFers on the globe happen to live in Washington, D.C. And you've got Muffin Top Kanks sending out fundraising emails currently. Midas Touch is breaking this. Put this up, Kylie. I want to try to get to heaven, says his fundraising email. Trump invokes eternal life and plea for campaign cash. Multiple things to unpack here. Number one, why is he constantly talking about trying to get to heaven? And that video where he said that, he also said, people say I'm not doing well. You know, Trump telegraphs everything, right? The dementia.
Yeah, so they needed in the wrong place. Okay, let me see. Here we go. Okay. So, yeah, please.
The thing that we've been saying for quite a while, and it's good. It's good that this is getting out there. It's good that that people are speaking up now, because for the longest time I was pulling my hair out and I was going, am I the one that's taking the crazy pills? Like, I don't understand. How do other people not see this yet for what it is? So Maddow did a monologue here, and she just lays it out, man. This is like a chilling warning that she's delivering for everybody about the current moment that we're in. Let's watch.
You can narrow or widen the aperture as much as you want. You can look at the very big picture or the small local picture anywhere in the country. And we try to do as much of both of those things as we can every week here on this show. But whether you're looking at small scale local stories or the biggest picture stories about what's happening in our country, the story is the same. And it is now an undeniable thing. We have crossed a line. We are in a place we did not want to be, but we are there. The thing we were all warning about for the last few years is not coming. It is here. We are in it. This is what it likes, it turns out. This is what it's like, right? I mean, it's August. It's a Monday. Every day the sun rises and the sun sets, and there are, sports and movies, and there are new hit songs. There are scandals here and there. There are crimes. There's everybody's personal quotient of family drama and health worries and money worries and falling in and out of love and in and out of faith. Life has not stopped, and none of our personal lives have stopped. But also at the same time, life in the United States is profoundly changing, is profoundly different than it was even 6 months ago. Because we do now live in a country that has an authoritarian leader in charge. We have a consolidating dictatorship in our country. And it sounds melodramatic to say it, I know, but just go with that for a minute, right? Think in melodramatic terms, think in cinematic terms. Imagine the cartoon level caricature of what you think a dictatorship looks like. I mean, it's secret police, right? A massive, anonymous, unbadged, literally masked, totally unaccountable internal police force that apparently has infinite funding, but no identifiable leadership. And they act in ways designed to instill maximum fear and use maximum force. I mean, when you imagine an authoritarian country, right, what you imagine is masked secret police breaking people's car windows and snatching people off the streets and out of church parking lots and courtroom hallways and taking them away with no charges, no notice, no paperwork, no explanation, not letting them see lawyers, and then moving them secretly to what are effectively black site prisons, where they won't tell you who's there and where no one's allowed in to see what's going on. Right? And that kind of a cartoon caricature of an authoritarian country, the one you might have imagined in melodramatic and cinematic terms ever before we got here, you would expect, right, that you'd have a scapegoated minority group blamed for all things. In our case, immigrants, right? And the new extraordinary powers and shows of force by the secret police, among other things. All these extraordinary powers and shows of force will be framed as necessary to stop this terrible internal enemy, right? Frame everything as immigration enforcement. Because for immigration enforcement, not only is all force justified, but maximum force is preferred. And they're trying to make it into a national entertainment to threaten to feed immigrants to alligators in South Florida, right? Making them eat off dishes on the floor like they're dogs, the Chrome Detention Center in Florida. They want us to like that, right? The Republican Party wants to sell t-shirts about that. And if you think it's only about immigrants, take the president's own word for it when he says the homegrowns are next. And then he starts musing publicly about which Americans he intends to strip of their citizenship. In a cartoon caricature of an authoritarian country, displays of military might are not just for the country's external enemies. They're for the country's own people, right? Because in an authoritarian country, you turn military force inward toward the people of that country. And so now we've got these large and expanding military zones in multiple states where they have extended the legal boundaries of nearby military bases to include hundreds and hundreds of miles of nearby land. So they can give active duty US troops the power to arrest and search people on US soil. They're now doing that over hundreds of miles of territory in multiple states. But The Intercept and the New Republic in the last couple of days have had new reporting about Trump administration plans to permanently integrate the active duty US military into, of course, immigration enforcement. So we will have our own US military troops mobilized on US soil, US military force turn inward on us in an ongoing and permanent way for immigration enforcement, right? And like they tried in LA to put down protests against the government because those protests relate to immigration enforcement. What else do you think of when you think of authoritarian countries? I mean, in the worst case, you think of death camps. We don't have those. What we do have are black site prison camps, including huge new ones that are designed to hold thousands of people. The biggest ones we've yet had have just been bidded out to contractors for construction, and they're building them now on US military bases. And they say they want states to build them all over the country.
Yep. Let me get this straight. You're telling me I don't have to spend.
Any comments so far on that? Okay.
Cartoon
keep going.
caricature of an authoritarian state. There's secret police, there's prison camps, there's the scapegoated enemy on whom all things must be blamed and against whom all things are justified.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to disagree with. That's all right. And remember, guys, in the big bullshit bill that just passed, they gave ICE $160 billion. So understand what that means. That means the ICE budget is bigger than the budget for the Israeli military. It's bigger than the budget for most militaries around the world. So now we have effectively an army force, a military force, as she says, that's turned inward. And then what are the results of that? Well, we're already seeing it. We're seeing mass kidnappings. We're seeing abductions. We're seeing human trafficking. We're seeing no due process from ICE Gestapo thugs, no habeas corpus. They've raided schools. They've raided meat packing facilities. They've raided farms, Home Depots, 7-Elevens. They literally deported a 4-year-old American citizen with cancer, no medicine. A woman was arrested immediately after giving birth and locked up by ICE Gestapo thugs. An American citizen who spoke Mayan was arrested and held for a week by ICE Gestapo thugs. Even when his mom showed up and said, here's his social security number, here's his birth certificate, here's all the documentation that you need. And they said, well, we can't do anything about that right now. So they kept him locked up for longer, even after that was proven. There are stories directly where an American citizen goes, I'm an American, I can prove it. And the ICE Gestapo thugs go, I don't care. I don't care. This is what we're looking at. We're looking at a U.S. Marshal who was arrested. They thought this person was undocumented. It turns out it was a U.S. Marshal. An American from Puerto Rico who was a veteran was arrested. As you all know, we had 288 people sent to a concentration camp in El Salvador, 90% of them, no criminal record whatsoever. Then they were tortured, they were abused, some of them were raped, then they were sent to Venezuela after that. You know the story of Andres, had a mom and dad tattoo and was sent there because of the tattoos. They said, this is a gang tattoo. He's like, it's a mom and dad tattoo. They go, it's a gang tattoo, we're sending you. There was that guy with the autism awareness tattoo. He was sent there. They said, that's a gang tattoo. He goes, my brother's autistic. He's 15 years old. He's autistic. I help look after him. They go, no, that's it. It's a gang tattoo because we say it's a gang tattoo. They ignore court rulings. They ignore court rulings. They've arrested Democratic officials. They've arrested judges. This is what we're looking at. What more would you need to conclude this? And this is why I've been going crazy. This is why I've been pulling my hair out. I literally don't understand what more people would need to see the plain-faced reality right in front of them. And I think the sad truth is that people tend to think, they tend to default to, well, it would never happen here. They tend to think like, yeah, we're different, right? Like, it couldn't get that bad here. Like, it's not the same. It's different. We're us, they're them. When it's us, we'll find a way. It'll be all right. It's not as bad as it might appear. No, but it is. What if I told you that it is? And what if I told you the signs have been there for so fucking long? And it drove me crazy. When you had all these right-wing commentator assholes pretending like all they cared about was free speech, then along comes Donald Trump. And they all hop on the Trump bandwagon. At the same time, this guy's suing a pollster because he doesn't like a poll that she put out. He's suing CBS for how they edited a Kamala interview. He's suing Simon & Schuster, the book company, because they released a book that had a quote of his he didn't like. He threatens to de-license news outlets for saying things he doesn't like. Sued CNN for over $400 million because they said he perpetrated the big lie, which was election denialism, which indeed was the big lie, but he sued over that. I mean, here's a guy who's got a try. Even before he was president, he was suing people over jokes. He sued Bill Maher over a joke he didn't like. This is the guy the free speech warriors decided to hitch their wagon to, and it is, because they don't actually care. They don't care about free speech. They don't care about the Constitution. Trump literally said, we should terminate all rules, regulations, and articles in the Constitution. That's what he said when he was trying to get back in office after he lost in 2020, but insisted he won because he was lying to everybody's face. Turns out that the guy who would greenlight January 6th and would make phone, even after the violence on January 6th, made phone calls saying, hey, don't certify the election. Turns out that guy is an authoritarian, is a dyed-in-the-wool authoritarian, and is willing to do anything and everything to hang on to fucking power. And now here we are, we're witnessing all of it in front of our faces, and more than half the country doesn't seem to realize it, right? They don't seem to get it. They don't seem to understand how high the stakes are right now. They don't seem to understand, like the law firms and the universities and all these fucking assholes who are, we'll make a deal with them. We'll make a deal with them. We'll agree to their terms on DEI or whatever the fuck. And then, would you look at that? Turns out you gave them an inch. Now they want a mile. Now they want a mile.
Yeah, I'm an AI.
Okay. Any feedback on that? Is he making any sense?
Shalom, everyone. I feel like he's angry also about what's going on, and he's making somewhat sense. He's pulling the curtain back, I guess, somewhat, if I may say.
Okay. Anybody else?
Shalom.
Okay.
He's making a little sense to me when he's talking about, like Sister Cheryl said, him pulling the curtain back. But in there when he said, well, when I'm thinking about the executive orders, like is another sign. He was talking about all the signs that have been right in front of our faces, and one of the biggest ones is that he is and was allowed to run for president, and he has 30 plus felonies. Exactly. Like most felons can't even vote, you know what I'm saying? And then he's the president, and you know that's crazy. So you can tell this isn't the same government that we've been under.
Right, exactly. And then the crazy part about it is, which is it's an insult, is like he just said, you just funded these ICE $160 billion. You know what I'm saying? What kind of shit is that? And like I said, the Supreme Court want to act as if the Supreme Court got all this power, but everything he come up with, these Republicans come up with, y'all co-signed. Everybody co-signed everything this nutbucket doing, but they supposed to be in opposition against it. It's crazy. You got something else? Somebody got something? Okay, good on that. So yeah, like I said, that's the crazy part about it. Like I said, the main judicial part of America, the power source of America, is supposed to be the judges, the Supreme Court, and they co-sign with everything he's doing. Every now and then they'll put some kind of propaganda bull crap on in the news that they fighting against. They going against some of the things they're doing. Everything that's major, they co-signing it. So they like chicks on the ball, like I said. And it's whoever controlling Trump controlling them too. Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna go to our need to know information now, and this is major to me because like I said, if you think you're gonna get some kind of different result from these people, you crazy as hell. So this happened back with Nixon right here. Check it out.
On the evening of August 15th, 1971, U.S. President Richard Nixon went on live television and delivered an 18-minute speech. Most Americans didn't understand what he was talking about.
Just like now.
But in reality, with this speech, Nixon committed the most massive and most elegant heist in human history.
Okay.
He took people's gold away from them, leaving them with paper bills, and those bills rapidly began losing their value. People listened to his speech, but most didn't even realize what had happened. When Nixon finished his speech, the world changed forever, and millions of Americans began rapidly growing poorer. To understand what exactly Nixon stole, imagine the economy of the 1960s. At that time, every dollar was backed by gold. Literally, this meant you could walk into any bank and exchange a $100 bill for approximately 3 ounces of gold. The government couldn't just turn on the printing press and print $1 billion. No gold, no new money. The system worked simply.
Those who answered the call of the vagabond.
$100? Show gold worth $100. All the world's currencies were pegged to the dollar, and the dollar to gold at a rate of $35 per ounce. This meant real stability. Your grandfather could set aside $1,000 in 1950 and know that 20 years later, they would be worth roughly the same, because behind that money stood real gold. The gold standard protected people from savings' main enemy, inflation. Governments couldn't print money to finance wars or social programs. They were limited by real resources. But it was precisely this limitation that irritated politicians. In the midst of World War II, at the initiative of the US and Great Britain, representatives from 44 countries gathered in the small town of Bretton Woods. Their goal was to create a new financial system that would ensure stability in the post-war world. The essence was simple. The US dollar is pegged to gold at a fixed price, $35 per ounce. All other currencies are pegged to the dollar. The entire world uses dollars for international trade, and the US guarantees that every dollar can be exchanged for gold. This creates trust. Inflation is minimal. People and states are confident that paper money has real value. At that moment, the United States owned the world's largest gold reserves, more than 20,000 tons, which comprised roughly 2/3 of the entire world's gold supply. Other countries trusted the US because America emerged from World War II as the economically strongest power, while Europe lay in ruins. The US had no competitors. At the time, this seemed reasonable, but this system contained a deadly trap. The US received a unique privilege. They could print the world's money, and the temptation to abuse this power proved too great. Already in the 1950s to 60s, America began spending dollars like a drunken sailor. The Korean War, the space program, the Vietnam War, the Marshall Plan for Europe. Everything required money. President Lyndon Johnson accelerated the printing press even more. His massive social program, the Great Society, when the government began spending billions on the poor, required billions of new dollars.
So just notice what they just did. Let me go back. Check it out. Here we go.
Europe, everything required money.
Check it out.
President Lyndon Johnson.
See that? President Lyndon Johnson. So see how they just gliding over history. He wasn't the president, he was the vice president. Well, how you get to be the president? They killed Kennedy. So this the motherfucker they wanted all along. That's what we see gonna play out again here in a minute. They want Vance, but nobody ain't give a damn about Vance. So they took Trump with his popularity he had with the mega movement, and they used him. That's why they broke all the rules. Him having 32 felons to get Vance in there that he selected. Then now he's gonna come up missing. Vance gonna be the president. Just like right here. Back it up a little bit and let you see this.
Use this power proved too great.
These Edomites, they set the system up to print money, unlimitedly print money. Kennedy wasn't with all that, but they already had the man in place. What they wanted to bring it, to push it forward was Johnson. So after they set the system up and they set everything up with Johnson in place, they knocked off Kennedy. Check it out.
Already in the 1950s to 60s, America began spending dollars like a drunken sailor.
Right.
The Korean War, the space program, the Vietnam War, the Marshall Plan for Europe. Everything required money. President Lyndon Johnson accelerated the printing press even more. His massive social program, the Great Society, when the government began spending.
So what they're doing right now, it ain't Trump. The man that's going to accelerate is Vance.
Billions on the poor required billions of new dollars. And the US printed them. A lot. Very much. More and more each year. By the late 1960s, simple arithmetic showed a catastrophe. Outside America, there were $80 billion worth of dollars, while gold in American vaults was worth only $10 billion. This meant that if all dollar holders simultaneously demanded gold, America would go bankrupt. Other countries began to notice this. The French were the first to understand this. In 1965, President de Gaulle publicly called the Bretton Woods system fraud and demanded real gold for their dollars. He sent a warship to New York and took away $150 million worth of French gold. The American government was forced to allow the French to take the gold. Other countries got the hint. Following France, West Germany, Switzerland, and the Netherlands began active exchanges, each demanding to return part of their dollar reserves in the form of gold. Gold flowed out of American vaults like a river. U.S. reserves rapidly melted away. Already in the early 1970s, the volume of dollars in the world significantly exceeded America's gold reserves. Trust in the system was shaking, and it seemed America was about to go bankrupt. By the summer of 1971, the situation had become critical. European bankers openly spoke about the dollar's collapse.
Edomites. They're putting another name on Edomites.
Panic reigned in the White House. Treasury Secretary John Connally reported to Nixon, "Mr. President, at current rates of gold outflow, our reserves will be exhausted in a year and a half. We have two choices: either bankrupt the country or change the rules of the game for the entire planet." Nixon understood any decision would be catastrophic. Continuing to exchange dollars for
same thing playing out now. Ain't nothing new under the sun.
Gold meant inevitable bankruptcy. Stopping the exchange meant breaking promises made to the entire world. But there was no choice. The American elite preferred to deceive the planet rather than admit their insolvency. August 15th, 1971, Sunday, 9:00 p.m. Americans are watching television at home. Suddenly, the president appears on air. Nixon looks calm and confident. He speaks about protecting the American economy from international monetary speculators. He accuses other countries of unfair competition. And then he utters the phrase that turned the world economy upside down.
Okay.
Directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold.
The key word, temporarily. But behind the scenes, economists understood. America would never return to the gold standard. This temporarily has lasted 53 years now. Nixon didn't tell the truth. He didn't admit that America simply couldn't fulfill its obligations because there was almost no gold left. Instead, he blamed the entire world for attacking the dollar. Nixon's speech shocked governments of other world countries. For them, this was real robbery. They had entrusted their savings to the US under the guarantee of gold backing. And America responded, Sorry, there will be no gold. Keep the paper bills. The president of...
Like I said before, same thing playing out right now. Ain't nothing new. Dealing with the same crooks then and now. These Edomite bankers. They in the scriptures. So you want to watch all of that? It's the day America's gold was stolen by our own president. That's the name of the video. And I got a counter to that right here. Check this out. Like they say, follow the money, follow the gold. Check it out.
This was not just a war of trenches and artillery.
World War I.
It was not only fought with bayonets and barbed wire. World War I was also a financial war. One fought in gold reserves, in bond markets and central banks, and in the secret offices of financiers who never set foot on the battlefield. The soldiers paid in blood. But the bankers and governments, they were calculating balance sheets. And what they did in those years not only determined who won and who lost, it also rewired the global financial system in ways that are still trapping you today. If you think war is simply about politics and armies, think again. The First World War proved that money is a weapon and one of the deadliest ever invented. In 1914, Europe was already a powder keg. National rivalries, colonial ambitions, and military alliances had turned the continent into a chessboard of paranoia. But beneath all the speeches about honor and empire, there was a financial reality. War on this scale was impossible to fight without unimaginable sums of money. And here's the brutal truth. When leaders chose war, they were also choosing debt. Every empire marching its troops to the front line was also marching its people into a future of economic burden. Yet at the start of this war, most governments believed it would be quick, maybe over by Christmas. They thought they could pay for it the old-fashioned way, with gold, with limited borrowing, with patriotic donations. Within weeks, that illusion collapsed. The war was burning money faster than...
So notice previous video, Nixon told a bald-faced lie and said that it was going to be temporary, and the money wasn't going to be back. They was going to take it off the gold standard for a while, for a time period. They're going to go back. Never did. Esau got him to say that same thing right here. They told American people that the war wasn't going to last that long. It was going to be a quick war. That was a lie. And they already knew it. That's the thing about it. They told you JC. Wrote him into your scriptures and told you JC is the savior. That's a lie. They pros at this.
Anyone could imagine. Let's be precise. In the summer of 1914, the financial system of Europe still revolved around the gold standard. Nations promised that their paper money could be exchanged for actual gold, a system that gave currencies credibility but also tied the hands of governments. Gold reserves were finite. You could not just print endlessly without losing the trust of your people and your creditors. Britain, France, and Germany all had respectable reserves, but once millions of men were mobilized and industry was redirected to weapons, the costs skyrocketed. Germany alone was spending over...
Yeah, millions of men being mobilized right now as we speak. Same playbook.
For 10 million marks per day by late 1914. And Britain's war costs would soon reach £2.5 million every single day. The math was merciless. The gold would not last. So the governments suspended the rules. One by one, the major powers abandoned the gold standard, quietly admitting to their citizens that money was now essentially a promise, backed by nothing more than faith in the state. In that moment, the breaking of the gold anchor was one of the most important financial shifts in modern history. It showed how fragile the so-called real wealth of nations actually was. Money and power were now unshackled from metal and driven by printing presses, credit, and persuasion. And once governments tasted that freedom, they never went back.
This is what World War I was all about. Not all the bullshit they told us, and send us to the history books in school and go to history class for. This is the reason why.
The financial war now began in earnest. For Germany, isolated from global capital markets and blockaded by the Royal Navy, the only option was domestic borrowing. Berlin launched massive bond drives, appealing to patriotism, urging ordinary citizens to pour their savings into war loans. The propaganda was relentless. Posters of heroic soldiers, families urged to sacrifice luxuries for the fatherland, and constant promises that investors would be repaid.
A Ponzi scheme right here. It's a Ponzi scheme. So guess what? They're doing it again now with cryptocurrency. The Ponzi scheme. Okay.
After victory. In total, Germany raised over 100 billion marks this way, but it was a pyramid built on hope. When defeat came, those bonds were worthless. Millions of Germans saw their life savings wiped out, and that bitterness became fertile ground for extremism in the decades ahead. Economic history always leaves scars. Britain, by contrast, had one immense advantage. The City of London was the financial hub of the world. Sterling was trusted, and British networks reached across the globe. At first, the government leaned on short-term borrowing, treasury bills, and patriotic appeals, but very soon it tapped into the deeper pools of global credit. Crucially, it turned to the United States. In 1914,
so like I was saying before, for those people that don't know and can't absorb it or can't comprehend it, is they lied. Why are we these people here is they subpar, they subhuman and whatever. How is they able to keep on doing this? They lied, told you that these people they came from nowhere. You think that's something small, but it's big. They said they came from nowhere. They ain't come from nowhere. And if the world knew the truth about that, they would know who these people are. But they got the heat, they didn't hoodwink everybody and say that Noah had a son called Japhet. Japhet is Noah's son. And Japhet ain't none of his son. Cain's son. Cain was the first murderer. Cain is the son of the serpent. The serpent wicked as hell. Cain wicked as hell. But they didn't told you, came to the scriptures and the Most High scriptures and wrote themselves in the lineage of Noah. And people can't find this. But they're doing the same shit over and over and over and over with all the wealth of the world. But like I said before, we know from what I just read in Psalms 37 that that day coming. Lord of hosts laughing. And that day is here. We're looking at it. It's unfolding. Okay. This video right here is the hidden financial battle behind World War I. And if you want to watch it, so anybody got any comments? Okay, we'll open it up for Q&A. Anybody have any questions, comments, any testimonies, anything you want to talk about that you came across? You want to bring it to the light? Okay, everybody good on that? So here we go right here. I thought this was pretty interesting, so I'm going to play it.
That the most powerful confession of our time didn't come from a pope, a president, or a preacher, but from Germany. And no, it wasn't about war. It wasn't about politics. It was about the black Israelites of the Bible, a truth buried for centuries, whitewashed, denied, erased, now forced into the light by the very nation that once helped cover it up. Germany has just confessed. We owe the black biblical Israelites their legacy, not whispered, not rumored, but declared publicly, officially. And if this sounds impossible, that's because you were never meant to know, because this truth isn't just historical, it's prophetic, it's dangerous, and it changes everything you thought you knew about scripture, race, and destiny.
Exactly.
So before you scroll past or click away, ask yourself, if Germany is finally telling the truth, what else has the world been hiding from you? Let's begin. Part 1. Whitewashing the Bible. The face of faith was repainted. Let me take you somewhere strange. Not a battlefield, not a church, a museum. You walk in and you see him. A pale man, long brown hair, trimmed beard, flowing robe, eyes soft blue as the skies of Rome. A halo glows behind his head, and the plaque says Jesus of Nazareth. But something deep inside you whispers, this doesn't feel right. You keep walking. You see Mary, fair-skinned, delicate hands dressed like a medieval queen. You see Moses carved in marble face, stern white as snow. You see David, Solomon, Isaiah, all portrayed as men of Europe.
Right.
But the stories they lived, they were written under the sun of the Middle East, in deserts and temples, in lands that border Africa. And suddenly the question hits you like a lightning bolt. If the Bible was born in the East, why do all its faces look like they came from the West? This is not an accident. This is not art. This was a decision, a weaponized brushstroke, because when Europe colonized the world, they didn't just conquer land, they conquered memory. They repainted the past so you would forget your place in it. Jesus wasn't made white because of history. He was made white because of empire. Let's go back centuries ago. After the fall of Rome, Christianity spread like wildfire through Europe. And with it came power kings crowned by divine right popes ruling over monarchs, crusades launched in the name of God. But this faith didn't.
So this is why they made J-Pac Noah's son. Right here.
Start in Rome. It started in Bethlehem. It didn't rise in cathedrals. It rose in wilderness.
Right.
With a people oppressed, scattered, crying out for deliverance. The earliest believers were not European. They were Semitic. Some looked like Arabs, some like East Africans, and many dark-skinned. But when Europe seized the faith, they couldn't accept a Messiah who didn't look like them. So they reinvented him. They didn't just change the story, they changed the face of salvation itself. Look at the Renaissance. Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Caravaggio, masters of their craft. But their images of Jesus, Mary, and the disciples were not based on archaeology or scripture. They were based on the faces they saw around them. Noblemen, dukes, Italian models. And these became the universal images of God's chosen. But here's the twist. They didn't just whiten Jesus. They erased everyone else with him. The prophets, the apostles, the early church, all were whitewashed. This wasn't about accuracy. It was about authority. Because how could a colonial empire justify enslaving dark-skinned people if those same people were the descendants of Abraham? Its contents, a prayer in Ge'ez addressed to Yahweh, keeper of Zion in exile. This document wasn't from Europe. It was placed there hidden by missionaries who feared the backlash of revealing who they had found in Africa. Twist upon twist, layer after layer. And still the evidence grows. So why now? Why is all this finally coming to light? Because you can't bury the truth forever. Because the earth remembers. Because the blood remembers. Because prophecy doesn't expire. And because the generation that was silenced has begun to speak again. This is not just about race. This is about restoration. This is about truth, long buried beneath colonial theology, rising like a phoenix from the ash.
Okay, so that's Germany declares we owe the Black biblical Israelites their legacy. In case you want to go listen to that, I advise you to listen to it. It's right at an hour and a half almost, hour 20 minutes. Okay, so you want to check that out. Any comments on that? Questions?
Shalom. He's mentioning about.
We can't hear you.
Okay, hold on. Sorry. He's mentioning about changing the face of JC, or say making his face pale. Is he still believing that he's not mentioning the Lord of Hosts, he's mentioning how JC should be black? If I'm not misunderstanding.
We already know that JC is a forest, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you gotta just let that roll off like water on a duck back.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, here we go. This is my topic for discussion. Okay, right here. Let me get this. This is the link between ancient Kemet. Like I said, I in my earlier when I first opened my channel up and all that. I got I think it's 12 videos called non-Messianic conversations with a non-Messianic Hebrew Israelite, and I was showing the link that when they concocted the New Testament, they synchronized the Egyptian culture with the Hebrew culture, and that's how they come up with JC. And because JC is Horus, they took our Redeemer out the picture, but JC is Horus because Horus was born of a virgin. He was immaculately conceived. And then the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which is every god that they concocted, idol, had a book to go with him. So Horus had a book. It's called Egyptian Book of the Dead. Everything Horus said in that book is written in red. That's why JC, New Testament, when they concocted JC, they just looked at the blueprint, what the Egyptians did with Horus. So everything that Jesus said, they wrote it in red. Not what the Creator said. Ain't none of this written in red, or Michael, or none of the angels. None of that. That's like I said, that's Mark's next. None of that's important. This is what JC said. That's written in red. And like I said before earlier, they continue to tell you lies, and Negroes going for it. Because everything he said is written in red is a lie. Okay? And then, like I said, anybody that's listening, you can do with that what you want. But if you do your research, you want to find out that these are concoction, your Ponzi scheme, just like everything else they did. Look at the money you're making off of. Look at the money they're making off of that. Okay? So here we go.
Tourists unfamiliar with your work, right? Especially your tours inspired by Egypt on the Potomac. Can you explain the connection between Kemet, Freemasonry, and the layout and symbolism embedded in Washington, D.C.?
So this bead. So they empowered themselves when they came to the West off of Egypt. Like we keep reading the Psalms, the Lord of Hosts, David telling you these people, it's not in them to reference Lord of Hosts. Okay?
Because of the fact that I was born in Chicago, Chicago is the home of architecture. The first skyscraper in the world was built in Chicago. Chicago has some of the greatest architecture in the world. I had aspirations of being an architect. I took 2 years of architecture courses in high school. My freshman year at the University of Illinois, I majored in architecture. I was ready for a change. I left University of Illinois, came to Howard, changed my major from architecture to design. So I am by training an artist. I've been drawing all of my life. And the beautiful thing about artists is that artists have the capacity to see things that aren't there. Artists have the capacity to create things and bring them into existence. So because of my training as an artist, I've learned to view history through the lens of art, and that I can read a book and visualize what the person is talking about. I can see images, I can see shapes. So when I look at things around me, I see them on multiple levels simultaneously. I look at buildings, I can read a building like a person would read a book, right? Because I understand what goes into creating a building and designing a building. So I made my first trip to Egypt in 1980. I made my second trip to Egypt in 1985. And after returning to DC for my second trip to Egypt, I saw the Washington Monument and said, wait a minute, I just saw those in Egypt.
Exactly.
Running a business is more legal than you think. Luckily, legal.
So just imagine you never go to Egypt. You can't get that revelation. Okay?
Washington Monument is called an obelisk, which is a Greek name for an identical object that was created in Egypt that was known as a tekken. It's the oldest symbol of resurrection. So I began asking questions. Why is the
phallus people that don't know. They watching the monument. It's the same as they all over Egypt back in the day. They symbolize a phallus, a male member's sexual member part. That's what that is, but it's tied to Osiris when Set killed him, cut his body up into 14 different pieces, and he threw his phallus in the water where the crocodiles is at. And the crocodiles ate it. And so when ISIS came and found all of his body parts, put them back together, that's how you get mummification. That's why the Egyptians started mummifying everybody. So she put them back together, but she ain't had no phallus. And she wanted a son. So she put him back together. Then she turned into a hawk and flew over and hovered over him over his private parts. And that's how you get Horus. She got immaculate conception. That's where that comes from. And then when they got hold to our scriptures, they put a Hebrew twist on it. Like I said, it's water on a duck back. Okay? So anyway, that's where it's coming. It's out of Egypt. And we come to find out what the brother's going to show you, that everything over here is out of Egypt.
They're attacking in Washington, D.C. And why has D.C. law mandated that there's no object that could be taller than that structure? So I ask questions, and every question seeks an answer, right? And as I was pursuing answers to the questions that I was asking, that led to the creation of what was originally known as the Afrocentric Tour of Washington, D.C., which I created in 1986. In 2005, I rebranded it Egypt on the Potomac. So that activity will be 40 years next year. And what it consists of is my curiosity leading me to answer the question, why is Washington Monument the tallest object in Washington, D.C.? And by researching the history of the layout, design, and development of the city, I created the Egypt on the Potomac filter. And so I discovered that America's founding fathers, many of whom were Masons, had an understanding and appreciation of Kemetic or Nile Valley history and culture. And that Tekken, the Washington Monument, is a 6,000-year-old symbol that represents the resurrection of Asar. The Asar story is the oldest story, the first story of resurrection known to mankind. So when the Masons erected that building, I think around 1880, they actually they named the monument in honor of George Washington for the public perception. But inside of the monument, they actually dedicated to Asar, the first king of Kemet.
Not JC.
So information is always presented on multiple levels. And so my interest...
We're going to get a Negro, JC. We know he's tied to Asar. We know he's tied to Egypt. But we're going to get a Negro, the masses, where we can get all the money from and brainwash them and tell them to JC.
Is in drilling down into the deeper levels of the presentation of anything. So Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution set aside an area no larger than a 10-mile square that was to serve as the capital of the United States of America. First capital was in New York, then it moved to Philly, then it was in Delaware, then it was at multiple locations. And these white men decided that they needed to create a permanent seat of government for the United States. George Washington was charged with the responsibility for determining where that new seat of government was going to be. George Washington was, in many respects, the Donald Trump of his day. He brokered deals with people who own land in Maryland and people who own land in Virginia on the east and west banks of the Potomac River. So he had them sell their land to the government at an inflated price. And once that 10-mile square on the east and west bank of the Potomac River was identified, then they came in and bought plots of land at a reduced rate and then sold those plots of land to the federal government at an inflated rate, right? So that's how Washington, D.C. came to be created. But also,
this is Wick Studio, built to meet any brick.
10-mile square. A square is important because squares in masonry are foundations upon which men's lives are transformed. So it makes sense that since America was established by men who were practitioners of the craft, white men who studied African knowledge, and they used that African knowledge to lift themselves up out of poverty, out of ignorance. So they practice African principles without identifying them as African. And they use those principles to create what has become the wealthiest and most powerful nation in human history. So that's why you have African symbols on the front and back of the dollar bill. That's why you have an African symbol in the geographical center of the capital of the wealthiest and most powerful nation in human history. So when I began to identify those symbols as African or as Kemetic.
So like I was saying, David tells us all through the Psalms, and then his buddies, Asaph and Ethan and all those other priests, that the Gentile can't comprehend the Lord hosts. He can't factor them in. He can't factor them in. We see now they predicating everything off of Egypt. Same thing our forefathers did at the Mount Sinai. Moses was up there talking to the Lord of hosts. They was down there concocting bull crap out of Egypt. Same thing these people doing. Their DNA, they can't think Hebrew. They can't comprehend the Lord of hosts. Okay? Play a little bit more of this.
Or Nile Valley symbol. So because I made a mistake when I wrote the Browder file and said that the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill was an Egyptian pyramid. I didn't realize until I went to Kush in 2016 that it's a Kushite pyramid. The angle of the Kushite pyramid is steeper than the angles of the Kemetic pyramid, which means that in 1778, I believe is the date that they created the symbols on the Great Seal. Whoever those people were, they knew something about Kushite history.
Edomites.
Right? And they knew the power associated with symbols. They knew the power associated with numbers. So they were very, very strategic about creating this nation with 13 colonies, right? They're very strategic about placing African symbols, surrounding themselves with African symbols so that they could be empowered by the energy that is transferred.
Not the Lord of hosts, not heaven, not the Creator, not Yahweh. Okay.
But that is conducted through those symbols. DC is in the shape of a square. The square is aligned to the 4 cardinal points of the compass. Asar's monument sits in the geographical center of that square.
Fallen angel technology.
The main street that runs from the monument up to.
So just close this out. If you're not thinking like a Hebrew, then you'll find yourself spewing the same knowledge. It ain't got nothing to do with the Hebrew Israelites. If you go on a quest, call yourself searching out, and you can't rightly divide it, you find yourself spewing the same bullshit they talk about. And I see it over and over again. Okay? So if you want to watch this video, it's the mysterious link between ancient Kemet, Freemasonry, and America's capital. Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay, everybody good? We're gonna go to our reading. We're gonna read out of Numbers. We'll read 5 chapters. Okay. Let me get it right quick. I'm gonna start reading out of chapter 6. You want to read chapter 6, AJ?
Shalom, yes, sir. Numbers chapter 6. Laws regarding the Nazarite. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Lord, he shall separate himself wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine or vinegar of strong drink, neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dried. All the days of his separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head until the days be fulfilled. Until the days be fulfilled in which he separated himself unto the Lord. He shall be holy, and he shall let the locks of his head grow. All the days that he separated himself unto the Lord, he shall come at no dead body. He shall not make himself unclean for his father or his mother, for his brother or for his sister when they die, because the consecration of his God is upon his head. All the days of his separation he is holy unto the Lord. And if any man die very suddenly by him, and he have defiled the head of his consecration, then he shall shave his head in the day of his cleansing. On the seventh day shall he shave it. And on the eighth day he shall bring 2 turtles or 2 young pigeons to the priest, to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering, and make atonement for him, for that he sinned by the dead, and shall hallow his head that same day. And he shall consecrate unto the Lord the days of his separation, and shall bring a lamb of the first year for a trespass offering. But the days that were before shall be lost, because his separation was defiled. And this is the law of the Nazarite when the days of his separation, when the days of his separation are fulfilled. He shall be brought unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and he shall offer his offering unto the Lord, 1 he lamb of the first year without blemish for a burnt offering, and 1 ewe lamb for the first year without blemish for a sin offering, and 1 ram without blemish for peace offerings, and a basket of unleavened bread, cakes of fine flour mingled with oil, and wafers of unleavened bread anointed with oil, and their meat offering and their drink offerings. And the priest shall bring them before the Lord, and shall offer his sin offering and his burnt offering. And he shall offer the ram for a sacrifice of peace offerings unto the Lord, with the basket of unleavened bread. The priest shall offer also his meat offering and his drink offering. And the Nazarite shall shave the head of his separation at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall take the hair of the head of his separation, and put it in the fire which is under the sacrifice of the peace offerings. And the priest shall take the side and shoulder of the ram, and 1 unleavened cake out of the basket, and 1 unleavened wafer, and shall put them upon the hands of a Nazarite after the hair of his separation is shaven. And the priest shall wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. This is holy for the priest, with the wave breast and heave shoulder. And after that, the Nazarite may drink wine. This is the law of the Nazarite who have vowed, and of his offering unto the Lord for his separation. Beside that his hand shall get according to the vow which he vowed, so he must do after the law of his separation. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying, Unto them the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious upon thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. Shalom. That's Numbers chapter 6.
Okay, you got anything on that? Want me to stand out?
In verse 25, Brother Leonard, that remind me we be talking about shine forth, and
Right.
think you say that in Psalms 50.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say something about that.
Okay.
So if you read all that, if you say start at 24, the Lord bless thee, keep thee, the Lord make his face to shine upon thee, and gracious and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace, and they shall put my name upon the children, O Israel, and I will bless thee. So in order for him to do all that, that person got to be in his presence. Remember what happened with Moses?
Right, yes, sir.
Remember Moses came down, he had to put a cloth over his head.
Right.
Because he did all this right here to Moses. He made his face to shine upon him. He lifted up his countenance on Moses. See what I'm saying? You see that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me see. Saying if you read 7, man, I'll read the last three chapters. You want to do that?
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so number 7, and it says, and it came to pass on the day that Moses had fully set up the tabernacle and had anointed it and sanctified it and all the instruments thereof, both the altar and all the vessels thereof, and had anointed them and sanctified them, that the princes of Israel, heads of the house of their fathers, who were the princes of the tribes and were over them that were numbered, offered. And they brought their offering before the Lord, 6 covered wagons and 12 oxen, a wagon for 2 of the princes, and for each one an ox. And they brought them before the tabernacle. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take it of them, that they may be to do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. And thou shalt give them unto the Levites, to every man according to his service. And Moses took the wagons and the oxen and gave them unto the Levites, 2 wagons and 4 oxen. He gave unto the sons of Gershon according to their service. And 4 wagons and 8 oxen he gave unto the sons of Merari according unto their service, under the hand of Ithamar the son of Aaron the priest. But unto the sons of Kohath he gave none, because the service of the sanctuary belonging unto them was that they should bear upon their shoulders. Verse 10, and the princes offered for dedicating of the altar in that day that it was anointed. Even the princes offered their offering before the altar. And the Lord said unto Moses, they shall offer their offering, each prince on his day, for the dedicating of the altar. And he that offered his offering the first day was Nashon, the son of Amminadab of the tribe of Judah. And his offering was 1 silver charger. The weight thereof was 130 shekels. 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, and the shekel of the sanctuary. Both of them were full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering. 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense. 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering. 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Nashon, the son of Amminadab. On the second day, Nathaniel, the son of Zuar, prince of Issachar, did offer. He offered for his offering 1 silver charger, the weight whereof was 130 shekels. 1 silver bowl was 70 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. Both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering. 1 spoon of gold of 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering. Excuse me. Verse 23, and for a sacrifice of peace offering, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Nethaniel, the son of Zuar, the third day, the prince of Zebulun. On the third day, Eliab, the son of Helon, prince of the children of Zebulun, did offer. His offering was 1 silver charger, the weight whereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Eliab, the son of Helon. On the fourth day, Elazar, the son of Shador, prince of the children of Reuben, did offer. His offering was 1 silver charger of the weight of 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Elazar, the son of Shador. And on the 5th day, Shalumiel, the son of Zori Shaddai, the prince of the children of Simeon, did offer. His offering was 1 silver charger, the weight whereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Shalumiel, the son of Zori Shaddai. And on the 6th day,
Yeah, you want to go to 78. What you're reading is you see it. You see that it's being it's duplicating itself, right?
right, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the 12 prince I was telling you about. It's a one. You got each tribe got a patriarch, and then the next in line is the son of that patriarch. So each one of them princes, we was reading back in Chronicles. Each one of them got a month. 30, I think it's 32,000 people each month go with him into the temple. They run the temple that whole month.
Right.
But before we do that, notice what it requires of him to sacrifice is the same thing that Abraham did in Genesis 15. You see that?
Right. Yes, sir.
So verse 78 for the last one. Verse 78.
Okay, skip to 78.
Yeah, to the last one, because it's 12 prince. And
Right.
all of them have to do the exact same thing. You just pick it up in 78 to the last one.
Okay, yes, sir. And it says, on the 12th day, Ahira, the son of Enan, prince of the children of Naphtali, offered. His offering was 1 silver charger, the weight whereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl, 70 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 of the 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Ahira, the son of Enan. Verse 84. This was the dedication of the altar in the day when it was anointed by the princes of Israel. 12 chargers of silver, 12 silver bowls, 12 spoons of gold, each charger of silver weighing 130 shekels, each bowl 70, and all the silver vessels weighed 2,400 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. The golden spoons were 12, full of incense, weighing 10 shekels apiece, after the shekel of the sanctuary. All of the gold spoons was 120 shekels. Verse 87, all the oxen for the burnt offering were 12 bullocks, the rams 12, the lambs of the first year 12, with their meat offering, and the kids of the goats for a sin offering 12, and all the oxen for the sacrifice of the peace offerings were 24 bullocks, the rams 60, the he goats 60, the lambs of the first year 60. This was the dedication of the altar after that it was anointed. And when Moses was gone into the tabernacle of the congregation to speak with him, then he heard the voice of one speaking unto him from off the mercy seat that was upon the ark of the testimony from between the 2 cherubims, and he spake unto him. And shalom. That's Numbers chapter 7.
Okay, so what I want to shed a light on, remember when Nebuchadnezzar came and took all the stuff out of the temple?
Right, yes, sir.
Then later on, 70 years later, the Nebuchadnezzar's grandson took all the stuff and had a feast with it, right? This is the stuff he had a feast with. Now you see why the hand came?
Right.
So all 12 of these dudes had to do the sacrifice. That in itself was the anointing of the altar. All 12 of them princes had to do that. Then the altar was anointed.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So now you see who the son is. See that?
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay, but then this was big, 89, what you just read. And when Moses was gone into the tabernacle, remember what David keep telling you? I can't wait to get to the temple. But the Lord of hosts said, right? He says, and when Moses was gone into the tabernacle of the congregation to speak with him, who was him?
Lord of hosts.
Okay, we're going to see that in a minute. Then he heard the voice of one speaking unto him from off the mercy seat. Ain't but one person on the mercy seat, right?
Right.
Off the mercy seat that was upon the ark of the testimony from between the 2 cherubims, and he spake to him. That's the Lord of hosts, not JC. See that? And then one more thing. I was telling you about Mystery Babylon, right? They over in Revelations, right?
Yes, sir.
And it says all the merchants looked afar off and saw when it was burning up. And then it says, this is the merchandise. Here go all the merchandise right here. You see it? All the merchandise they mentioned over there, here it is right here. So it ain't over here. It's them fake ass Israelites over there in Jerusalem posing as Israelites. They possess all this because they doing all this now. They have to have all this. That's when you understand that what was in Genesis in Revelation 18 it's been misplaced. It wasn't in. I believe it's in the book of Daniel. I think the book of Daniel had like maybe 50 or 60 chapters. So they took a little bit out of all the chapters, and that's how they made Revelations. Okay, so this is all the stuff right here. The woman, it's a whore. It's a harlot. The whore is posing as Israelites today. They need all these things too because they're trying to duplicate the whore. And all this stuff is mentioned in 18. Not over here. They know, like I said, ain't nobody over here, fine flour and sacrificing no bullocks and rams and all that. They don't need this stuff because they ain't dealing with the Creator. But if you done stole our identity, you trying to do what we doing. You need all those things. Okay? Any comments on that? So I'm in chapter 8. It says Aaron lights the lamp, right? It says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto Aaron, and say unto him, when thou lightest the lamps, the 7 lamps, it's the menorah, shall give light over against the candlestick. And Aaron did so, and he lighted the lamps thereof over against the candlestick. And the Lord commanded Moses, and this work of the candlestick was of beaten gold until the shaft thereof, unto the flowers thereof was beaten work according to the pattern which the Lord had showed Moses. So he made the candlestick. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the Levites from among the children of Israel and cleanse them. And thus shalt thou do unto them to cleanse them. Sprinkle water of purifying upon them, and let them shave all their flesh, and let them wash their clothes, and so make them clean themselves clean. Then let them take a young bullock with his meat offering, even fine flour, there you go, mingled with oil, and another young bullock shalt thou take for a sin offering. And thou shalt bring the Levites before the tabernacle of the congregation, and thou shalt gather the whole assembly of the children of Israel together, and thou shalt bring the Levites before the Lord, and the children of Israel shall put their hands upon the Levites. Let me read that again. So, and thou shalt bring the Levites before the tabernacle of the congregation, and thou shalt gather the whole assembly of the children of Israel, and thou shalt bring the Levites before the Lord, right? And the children of Israel, the rest of them, the other 11 tribes, shall put their hands upon the Levites, and Aaron shall offer the Levites before the Lord for an offering of the children of Israel, that they execute service of the Lord. And the Levites shall lay their hands upon the heads of the bullocks. See that? Not the people. The Levites shall lay their hands upon the heads of the bullock, and thou shalt offer one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering, and Lord, unto the Lord, to make an atonement for the Levites. And thou shalt set the Levites before Aaron and before his sons, and offer them for an offering unto the Lord. Thus shalt thou separate the Levites from among the children of Israel, and the Levites shall be mine. Okay, so did anybody catch that? So this where, like I told you, when they got onto our records, that's how they concocted JC. So here go JC right here. 12. The Levites shall lay their hands upon the heads of the bullocks, and thou shalt offer one for a sin offering, right? And the other for burnt offering unto the Lord, to make atonement. See that? For the Levites. Now here you go. 13. And thou shalt set the Levites. Here you go. This is suffering servant. And thou shalt set the Levites before Aaron and before his sons, and offer them. See, that's where you get JC from. Yeah? And offer them for an offering unto the Lord. Thus shalt thou separate the Levites from among the children of Israel, and the Levites shall be mine. That's where you get JC from, right there. I told you what they did with the sun. The Egyptians was worshiping the sun. They personified the sun. These nutbuckers came along, saw what they was doing, and they took a man, an actual man, and made a man on the earth. But the Egyptians just personified the sun, gave the sun human characteristics. They took it and made a man out of it, which is or like I said, the Christos. That's the original Christos, the Black Madonna and Child. Okay. Anyway, keep going. It says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the Levites from among the children of Israel, cleanse them. Let me see if I read this already. Yeah, I read that. And after that, I'm at 15. And after that shall the Levites go in to do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, and thou shalt cleanse them and offer them for an offering. For they are wholly given unto me from among the children of Israel, instead of such as open every womb, even instead of the firstborn of all the children of Israel, have I taken them unto me. There goes JC. For all the firstborn of the children of Israel are mine, both man and beast. On the day that I smote every firstborn in the land of Egypt, I sanctified them for myself. And I have taken the Levites for all the firstborn of the children of Israel. And I have given the Levites as a gift to Aaron and to his sons from among the children of Israel to do the service of the children of Israel in the tabernacle of the congregation, and to make an atonement for the children of Israel. That's who do the atonement right here, not JC. That there'll be no plague. See that? That there'll be no plague among the children of Israel when the children of Israel come nigh unto the sanctuary. And Moses and Aaron and all the congregation of the children of Israel did to the Levites according to all that the Lord commanded Moses concerning the Levites. So did the children of Israel unto them. And the Levites were purified, and they were washed their clothes, and Aaron offered them as an offering before the Lord, and Aaron made an atonement for them to cleanse them. And after that went the Levites in to do their service, right? Okay, let me keep going. Do their service in the tabernacle of the congregation before Aaron and before his sons, as the Lord had commanded Moses concerning the Levites, so did unto them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This is it that belongeth unto the Levites. For 20 and 5 years old and upward they should go in to wait upon the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. And from the age of 50 years they shall cease waiting upon the service thereof, and shall serve no more, but shall minister with their brethren in the tabernacle of the congregation to keep the charge, so to do no service. Thus shall thou do unto the Levites touching that charge. So that was Numbers chapter 8. Anybody got any comments on that? Anything stick out?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. In verse chapter 8, verse 18.
Right.
And it says, I have taken the Levites for all the firstborn of the children of Israel.
Right.
Yeah, so even that right there, when it's saying like this is another son, when
right.
Instead of them saying his only begotten son, when they say that about JC, it's clearly saying this from 10 through 19, that
right, exactly, right.
The Levites are specifically that. Yeah.
Right. And so they got, like I said, when you understand how these people did that, they came and they saw how they got our records, and then from reading our records, that's how they concocted JC. Okay. And they got hotel records. So anyway, yeah. So I'm in verse 9, chapter 9, it says, the observance of the Passover, and the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the first month of the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, let the children of Israel also keep the Passover at his appointed season. In the 14th day of this month at evening, ye shall keep it in its appointed season, according to all the rites of it, and according to all the ceremonies thereof shall you keep it. And Moses spake unto the children of Israel that they should keep the Passover. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month at evening in the wilderness of Sinai, according to all that the Lord commanded Moses. So did the children of Israel. And there were certain men who were defiled by the dead bodies of a man, that they could not keep the Passover on that day. And they came before Moses and before Aaron on that day. And those men said unto him, We are defiled by the dead bodies of a man. Wherefore are we kept back, that we may not offer an offering of the Lord in his appointed season among the children of Israel. And Moses said unto them, Stand still, and I will hear what the Lord will command concerning you. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If any man of you or of your posterity shall be unclean by reason of a dead body, or be in a journey afar off, yet he shall keep the Passover unto the Lord. The 14th day of the second month at evening they shall keep it, and eat with the unleavened bread and bitter herb. They shall leave none of it until morning, nor break any bone of it, according to all the ordinances of the Passover. They shall keep it. Here you go right here, what I was telling you about. You go another one. This is why they got in the story of JC that not a bone in the hills is broken. Here you go. They shall leave none of it until the morning, nor break any bone of it. See that? According to all the ordinance of the Passover, they shall keep it. But the man that is clean and is not in a journey and forbear to keep the Passover, even the same soul shall be cut off from among the people, because he brought not the offering of the Lord in his appointed season, that man shall bear his sin. And if any stranger shall sojourn among you and will keep the Passover unto the Lord, according to the ordinances of the Passover, and according to the manner thereof, so shall he do. Ye shall have one ordinance, both for a stranger and for him that was born in the land. It says, and on the day that the tabernacle was reared up, the cloud covered the tabernacle, namely the tent of the testimony. And at evening there was upon the tabernacle, as it were, the appearance of fire until morning. So it was always the cloud covered it by day, and the appearance of fire by night. And when the cloud was taken up from the tabernacle, then after that the children of Israel journeyed, and in the place where the cloud abode, there the children of Israel pitched their tents. At the commandment of the Lord, the children of Israel journeyed, and at the commandment of the Lord, they pitched. As long as the cloud abode upon the tabernacle, they rested in their tents. And when the cloud tarried long upon the tabernacle many days, then the children of Israel kept the charge of the Lord and journeyed not. And so it was, when the cloud was a few days upon the tabernacle, according to the commandments of the Lord, they abode in their tents, and according to the commandment of the Lord, they journeyed. So it was, when the cloud abode from evening until morning, and that the cloud was taken up in the morning, then they journeyed, whether it was by day or by night that the cloud was taken up, they journeyed, or whether it were 2 days or a month or a year that the cloud tarried upon the tabernacle, remaining thereon, the children of Israel abode in their tents and journeyed not. But when it was taken up, they journeyed. At the commandment of the Lord, they rested in their tents, and the commandment of the Lord, they journeyed. They kept the charge of the Lord at the commandment of the Lord by the hand of Moses. Okay, that was chapter 9. Anybody got any comments on that? Anything ring out? Anything stick out? Okay, I want to shine a light on something right here. It's big right here. I mean, this Numbers chapter 9, I'm starting at verse 15. And on the day that the tabernacle was raised up, the cloud covered the tabernacle. So what cloud? Like I said, everything these prophets tell you, you gotta let it register in your head, because it's gonna come back. You gotta be able to reference, bring it back up. So let's go to So like I say, you fumble with it you want to, that's on you. So I'm in chapter 1, right here. So Ezekiel telling us this for a reason. Now it came to pass, Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 1. Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 5th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river Tabor, that the heavens were open. Check it out. And I saw visions of God. In the 5th day of the month, when I was in the 5th year of King Jehoiakim's captivity, the word of the Lord came expressly unto Ezekiel, the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Tabor, and the hand of the Lord was upon him. Here you go. Like I said, they tell you this for a reason. And I looked, see, I'm telling you that. And behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and the brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof came the color of amber, and out of the midst of the fire, also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. And this was their appearance, and they had the likeness of a man. So they go to Yahweh, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel in the cloud. So when you see the cloud, that's who in the cloud. Then he says, verse 4, and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, great cloud, and fire enfolding itself. See that? Inside the cloud. Fire enfolding itself. Fire inside, going crazy inside the cloud, right? And the brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof, so shooting through the cloud was these colors that you know in fire. The shooting out of the fire, out of the cloud, out of the smoke, were the colors of amber out of the midst of the fire. So that's amber, that's the color orange that's in the fire. So, but he's Yahweh in there and these 4 angels. And so he said, how you know that? Here you go, right here. In 27. Like I said, he telling you, I saw, 27, and I saw as the color of amber, that go to amber again, as the appearance of fire round about within it, for the appearance of his loins, even upward, from the appearance of his loins, even downward with fire. And he had a brightness right about it. And the appearance, and so there it is, that's Yahweh. Here you see no flesh, like Daniel saw. The man Daniel saw had flesh on him. This man right here with Daniel saw ain't have no flesh on him. That's why the cloud doing what it's doing in verse 4. But anyway, now let's go back over here. This is the same cloud, but you gotta understand that. In Numbers chapter 9, verse 15. And on the day that the tabernacle was reared, this is when they first made the tabernacle in the wilderness, the first time they erected it, was raised up. The cloud, there it is. Ezekiel already told you what's going on with the cloud. You got to be able to transport that information. So he says, was reared up, and the cloud covered the tabernacle, namely the tent of the testimony. So what's the tent of the testimony? We go again. I'm killing JC in the process. So now I'm in Isaiah, right? Okay, and then this going over goes over a lot of people's heads. I'm in Isaiah 43, verse 10. And this going to show you who the suffering servant is, and it's going to dispel JC. Verse 10, the Lord of hosts talking, the Redeemer, the Savior, the Deliverer of Israel. 10, ye are my witnesses. See that? That's what the Lord of hosts saying. Michael, ye are my witnesses, said the Lord, and my servant. We just read over there who the servant is, the Levites. And my servant, whom I have chosen. See that? That ye may know and believe me, understand that I am he. Before me, there was no God formed. That's not a misprint. Yahweh wasn't formed. But whoever it is talking, telling you, I was the first one formed. Formed from where? 7 angels. He's the first one formed. See what he say? 10. Ye are my witnesses, said the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me and understand that I am he. Before me there was no God formed. See that? Neither shall there be after me. Then here you go. Even I am the Lord. And besides me, there's no Savior. He ain't trying to be the creator. So what is this? Ye are my witnesses. Oh, well, back over here. Why this was that? He says right here, verse 15. And on the day that the tabernacle was raised up, the cloud covered the tabernacle, namely the tent of the testimony. Who in the tent of the testimony? The Levites. That's what we're talking to over here in 43. Then Negroes want to holler, y'all alone, he by himself and all that bull crap. But anyway, so let's keep going. So it was always the cloud covered it by day and the appearance of fire by night. And when the cloud was taken up from the tabernacle, then after that, the children of Israel journeyed, and in the place where the cloud abode, there the children of Israel pitched their tents. At the commandment of the Lord, the children of Israel journeyed. See that? At the commandment of the Lord, the children of Israel journeyed. So, you there? Where you at? In the cloud. Oh, see that? So let's keep going. I'm in chapter 10. This is the silver trumpets. Okay. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, make thee 2 trumpets of silver, one of a whole piece shalt thou make them, that thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly, and for the journeying of the camps. And when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to thee at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And if they blow but the one trumpet, then the princes, which are the heads of the thousands of Israel, shall gather themselves unto thee. So that's the 12 princes that AJ just read about. And when ye blow an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east part shall go forward. And when you blow an alarm the second time, then the camps that are lie on the south side shall take. Okay. Let me get this. Take their journey, and they shall blow an alarm for their journeys. But when the congregation is to be gathered together, ye shall blow, but ye shall not sound an alarm. And the children of Aaron, the priests, shall blow with the trumpet, and they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations. And if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Lord your God, and ye shall be saved from your enemies. Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginning of your months, ye shall blow with the trumpet over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offering, that ye may be to you for a memorial before the Lord. I am the Lord your God. And it came to pass on the 20th day of the second month, in the second year, that the cloud was taken up from off the tabernacle of the testimony. There it is. And the children of Israel took their journeys out of the wilderness of Sinai, and the cloud rested in the wilderness of Paran. And they first took their journey according to the commandments of the Lord by the hand of Moses. In the first place went the standard of the camp of the children of Israel, the children of Judah, according to their armies. And over his host was Mishan, the son of Abinadab. And over the host of the tribe of children of Israel was Nathan, the son of, okay, we know about these 12. Says, let me get over down here to 28. Thus were the journeying of the children of Israel according to their armies when they set forward. And Moses said unto Habbai, the son of Regel, the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law, we are journeying unto the place which the Lord said, and I will give it you. Come thou with us, and we will do thee good, for the Lord has spoken good concerning Israel. And he said unto him, I will not go, but I will depart to mine own land and to my kindred. And he said, leave us not, I pray thee, for as much as thou knowest how we are to encamp in the wilderness, and thou mayest be to us instead of eyes. And it shall be, if thou go with us, ye shall be that what goodness the Lord shall do unto us, the same will he do unto thee. And they departed from the mount of the Lord 3 days' journey, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord went before them in the 3 days' journey to search out the resting place for them. And the cloud of the Lord was upon them by day, and when they went out of the camp, it came to pass when the ark set forward that Moses said, "Rise up, Lord, and let thine enemies be scattered, and let them that hate thee flee before thee." And when it rested, he said, "Return, Lord, unto the many thousands of Israel." Okay, so there we go right there. Shine forth. You see that right here, 38. I said it came to pass, 35, and it came to pass when the ark was set forward that Moses said, "Rise up, Lord." See that? Shine forth, and let thine enemies be scattered, and let them that hate thee flee before thee. And when it rested, he said, "Return, Lord, O Lord, unto the many thousands of Israel." So where he at? We just read where he was at. He on the mercy seat in between the two chapters. So that's what he's talking about when he said, "Shine forth." Okay, so that's that was what we read was Numbers chapters 6 to 10. Anybody got any comments or questions? Anything stick out?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. I just wanted to mention again in chapter 8,
Right.
you know, verses 8 through 18, because I never read that before, or at least it didn't stick like that. So,
Right.
you know, seeing that, I can clearly see that, you know, that's where they took that interpretation to make JC from.
Well, exactly, right. Like I said before, he tell you that they made him a lamb. Well, if he a lamb, well, why he didn't get cut up? And why you didn't get the fat and the cubs and all that you get from the other lamb? Come on. But anyway, we're gonna pick a scripture and we're gonna break that scripture down, then we'll close out. Somebody got a scripture?
Brother Leonard, can we do I'm gonna go to Isaiah 55.
Okay.
And Isaiah 55. And it just 3 verses 3, 4, and 5. And it says, "Incline your ear and come on to me, hear, and your soul shall live. And I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David. Behold, I have given him for a witness to the people, a leader and a commander to the people. Behold, thou shalt call a nation that thou knowest not, and nations that knew not thee shall run unto thee, because of the Lord thy God, and for the Holy One of Israel, for he hath glorified thee." Shalom.
Okay. So that right there, what you just read was what I was saying about the tender mercies of Israel. Israel receiving tender mercies because of David.
Okay. Right.
See that?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they get. So when he see Israel, he's reminded. He's taken back because of David. Because David is. Remember what he told him in 1 Samuel 16 and 1. He said, "Anoint him. This is him. I chose him. He belonged to me." But people chose Saul. But David was a king that the Most High, the Lord of hosts chose. The Lord of hosts didn't choose Saul. The people chose Saul because he was tall. He was like the rest of the kings that they had seen when they came through the wilderness in Deuteronomy chapter 2. When they came, saw Og and all them people, they wanted a king over them, like which is a giant. And Saul fit those characteristics. He didn't choose them. He gave the people what they wanted. Then after Saul went amok, then he chose David that he wanted the Messiah, his Messiah, which is the anointed one. He told him, take the horn, fill it with oil, and anoint him. This is he whom I chose. Okay? Does that make any sense?
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else got anything else before we go? Everybody good?
Shalom. Part of that chapter reminds me of how in the New Testament, I think it's earlier, like verse 2, why spend money on what is not bread and labor on what does not satisfy? Listen to me and eat what is good, and you will delight in the riches of fare. It reminds me of the comment made somewhere in the New Testament that man shall not live by bread alone, but clearly it's coming from Isaiah.
Exactly. Right. And you come to find out everything they quoting, they got it from the old Tanak. That's the foundation. That's why they had the New Testament can't stand on its own, because it was manufactured from our records. Tanak. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Everybody good? I'm gonna say shalom. Shalom and another shalom. I see everybody. We have our women's advanced Bible study tomorrow night. The men can come into the YouTube. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Shalom, everyone.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it, because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up, and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is, and the Godhead.